Michelle.
Howdy.
Howdy, everybody. It's so good to see you all. I know I've seen a few of you over the last few weeks at fairs. And then Rochelle, it's been a minute since I've seen you again. And I think you're new, or I'm not as familiar with you, but welcome everyone. I hope that you are a little bit drier and warmer than what we are right now in College Station, Texas, but we're really glad that you could join us for this session. Marla, are we recording this to send out later too? Awesome.
We
Awesome.
are.
Okay,
Yep. Got a few
good.
that can't join us who originally were planning to, so we'll send it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And I know it's a busy time for you, so we really appreciate your time in learning about the engineering MBA program. This invitation was only sent to employers who we felt might be a good fit and benefit, well, from hiring these students in particular, but all of our amazing students in the graduate programs. But just to give you a short introduction, we're going to go around and let you know who we are so that way you have a point of reference. So our program staff is Dr. Sarah Yox. She's not in the call today. Marla Collins, she is the Assistant Director of Engineering MBA. And then Brooke Ellen is our Engineering MBA recruiter. So when it comes to working with the students, Brooke is bringing them in and finding the very best talent for us to work with and us to develop, who then can go and do amazing things at your companies. And then Marla is instrumental, actually the whole team is, but Marla's instrumental in figuring out the nuts and bolts of the program and making sure that all the students are meeting their marks and ready to move on when they graduate. So thank you to our program staff. And then from our Career Management Center, we have Dr. Stephen Burton. He is my boss. He's our executive director and no relation to me. And I'm Lisa Burton. My role is the director of employer engagement. So what I do is talk to companies about hiring our MBA and specialty master students. And I'm really glad that we're going to speak to you today about our engineering MBA students. So thank you.
I'll go back a little bit, Lisa, for this real quick.
Sure. So just a little pulse check on where everybody is, and you can put it in the chat. I know that somebody's monitoring that, or you can just shout it out. That's fine. What information were you hoping to get regarding engineering MBA from today's session? And then if you know anything at all, what do you already know about our engineering MBA? Feel free to put it in the chat or throw it out.
I'm gonna say howdy, y'all. So howdy, y'all.
Howdy.
Yeah, howdy.
All right. So I'm Rochelle from Owens Corning. I'm the enterprise recruiter. Been in this role for about 2.5 years. So just been working on trying to scale our strategy to specific universities, and then have all of our 9 early career programs kind of leverage all the universities instead of our 30 plus that we were before. But now we've got our select 8. And so what I'm doing and what I'm basically looking for, we have a couple programs that are taking MBA students, and obviously with the way the world is changing, the way manufacturing is changing, and a lot of our innovation, how we're trying to think, trying to tap into additional major programs that could also kind of have some talents that we might not be expecting, and trying to get away from what our standard has been. Just legacy type of recruiting and legacy type of majors, those regular ones, just trying to get completely out of that. And so for me, when Lisa and I kind of talked about this a little bit before, but just trying to hear about what other companies are looking for in the engineering MBA, and then also to just any type of additional things that I don't think that I might not have heard, but Lisa's so daggone thorough. Probably heard everything. But being able to use that information and build up an even bigger case for our program to leverage as engineering MBAs.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rochelle. LaShira, Katerina, do you want to add anything?
We've got Abby on the phone.
I can add.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is LaShira Isaac. I am a university recruiting manager at Texas Instrument. What I really want to learn about today are the students' undergrad engineering majors. So I would like to get like a percentage of how many of those students are electrical, mechanical. And then also want to know, because this was a conversation I had last week with a TIer who was proposing that we engage with MSF, that program. And so we really wanted to know how MS Finance for those engineering students and engineering MBA, how they were different. So for MS Finance, he told us that a lot of those students are possibly interested in like um, consulting roles, and then I think it was something else, but those students could go into like our technical sales roles. And so really just want to get an idea of what roles these engineering MBA students could go into. Is it technical sales? Because I know they have that technical background. And for TI, for our business and operations, we're really looking for students that have an undergrad or a master's in finance, accounting, supply chain, all of those, right? But the engineering MBA is special because in technical sales or in product marketing at TI, they need the technical background, but also that customer savvy or that, real personable skill to really connect with our customers, right? So really just interested in the difference in the two programs and really seeing if um, if and where the students could fit into our roles at TI.
Okay. And I'm hoping that I get to meet with you all while we're in Dallas. I haven't heard from Kirk yet, so.
And then
If you don't hear from
Lisa,
them by, I would say, the end of the week, reach back out to me and we could just get something on the calendar to talk more about.
Sounds good. I'm gonna put that on my calendar. Sorry, Katerina.
fine. I was just gonna say, so I also am at TI, and Kirk and LaShira kind of sent this over to me. So I help specifically recruit the MSF program or MSQF program. And so we're just trying to gauge, like LaShira said, like kind of the differences, what the two programs, like how they differ, what similarities they have, and if it would be like a good fit for what we're looking for, or if we could leverage like some of like those programs and what that would look like. So
And then Abby, did you want to add anything?
Hi, can you hear us?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, we were having some technical difficulties earlier, but I think overall we're just kind of interested in hearing a little bit more about this program. Obviously, so I work for Matador Resources Company. We're an oil and gas company here in Dallas. And we hire a lot of the engineers coming out of Texas A&M. And I think that learning a little bit more about the MBA program can really help us kind of figure out where we can focus our efforts and kind of learn where they're best placed and what their interests are and kind of go from there.
Great, great. And I hope I can visit with you all while we're in DFW as well. I can't remember if I sent you an email, so I have to look through that. Rochelle, I can't come see you, unfortunately, but I can see you when you're on campus and I can see you right through Zoom too. So yeah, we're doing a swing through Texas starting next week. We'll be in Austin and then Houston the following week and then ending in Dallas. So really hoping that we can meet. This is great information, everybody, and it helps us kind of direct how to tweak the presentation a little bit for you. So you've gotten through all of the introductions and now we know what you are looking for out of this experience. And I'm going to toss it over to Marla so she can actually start telling you all about engineering MBA because they are the program experts on this. Thanks, Marla.
awesome. Thanks, Lisa. It's nice to see y'all today. I greatly appreciate y'all being so interactive and giving us lots of info to go off of. It's extremely helpful for Lisa and myself and our team as we kind of build this employer pipeline and help employers understand about this program. Wanted to give some context here because I feel like our students who Brooke is recruiting might have the same reaction that y'all have of, wait, I never heard about engineering MBA. How did I miss that? Where did it come from?
So wanted to give some context on the creation, and historically around November of 2023, this is a big initiative with our office and then also with the Dean of Mays Business School and some senior associate deans in College of Engineering. So it's very much a joint effort and a joint understanding across the two colleges. The reason we developed this program specifically for Aggie engineers to enter a one-year MBA straight out of undergrad is because we had a lot of engineers coming back to our full-time program and coming to get an MBA after working in a technical role for 3 to 5 years. And the reason being they were kind of being told and heard, oh, I want to shift into more of a business lens or more of a consulting lens or more of a product management lens. But we're being told they needed a little bit more education, hence coming back to get the MBA before doing that. So for lack of a better term, they were hitting a ceiling and needed to come back. So we said, let's go ahead and create this now for students to take advantage of. That way, there's no interruption to their career in later years when they have to come back and get an MBA. Let's provide it at a lower cost, a fast track option of 1 year. And that way it kind of broadens their career options for the long term. We'll talk about a little bit later. Lisa will touch on what short-term roles look like for them. So for y'all's questions of what opportunities would they move into for you all as employers, we'll touch on that and then what it looks like for long term. But that's the contextual knowledge of why we created Engineering MBA. And we think it's going to be an extremely valuable opportunity for these students to be able to expand the business side knowledge and combine it with the technical piece as well. Wanted to give a few basics. I've said a bit of these already, but it is immediately following graduation. So for example, we are admitting anyone who graduated August 24, December 24, and May 25 for our fall 25 start. So we do not take students after they've worked for a year, or if they decide to just take a break or a gap year, they cannot come back for Engineering MBA. They would have to wait to take part in the Flex Online MBA or our full-time program after they worked for between 2 to 5 years. So that's a really unique opportunity for these students. And then also it is, like I said, accelerated 1 year. We do a bit of an early start, so this could be super important to know if you are employing any of our incoming students in a summer internship. We still give them the opportunity for about an 8 to 10 week internship in the summer, but we do have an in-person orientation that starts the last week of July. We have to start classes early. 45 credit hours is not easy to cover in a year for these students, so we have to get them in the door a little bit earlier in August.
And I just wanted to welcome Colton from
Yes.
Baker Hughes as well. So welcome. We're just getting started, Colton, on the program basics. So came at a good time.
Thank you, Lisa. Perfect. And then we'll touch on this a little bit more if there's clarification later, but they do go August to August. However, their last semester in the summer is asynchronous online classes. So if you all have opportunities for students to start a role May, June, July, following this MBA program, they would have the ability to do that. And we would be happy to kind of have conversations with y'all about how that works from a timeline perspective. It is only available to Aggie engineers. An engineer from Oklahoma State can't come and do the Engineering MBA program. This is only available to those that graduate from Texas A&M, which again, we think is one thing that makes it extremely unique. Big misconception is Engineering MBA, okay, you throw some technical knowledge in the class, and that is a myth. There is no technical curriculum. It is mainly the same exact curriculum as our full-time MBA program. The only difference is that these students do not have that full-time work experience. So we cover these subjects and some. So for the questions that were talked about with how does this compare to MSF, happy to pull up our curriculum at the end of this as well if you'd like, and we could send that out as well in a follow-up email. But I think it is, to your point, really important to understand the difference in the subjects that are being taught, and how ours spreads a little bit more across all disciplines. So that's one thing that I would say is a difference. MSF is a phenomenal program, and they do a really, really great job of preparing students for more of that investment banking, that specific financial track, a little bit of that consulting piece, Lashara, like you mentioned, especially if it's more of the financial consulting part. And I would say the big difference with ours is we go across all disciplines with our curriculum. So they are getting still in-depth knowledge within those subjects, but they would not have as much in-depth knowledge on the financial piece or the QF piece and the investment banking side of it. But someone can choose a finance track within ours as well. Wanted to quickly make sure that y'all know who we're bringing into this program, who could potentially move into roles in your companies. We make sure that we are looking at that academic performance. That's a big piece of what we want to make sure students are coming in with. In addition, the experiential learning, the 1 to 2 summer internships or co-ops. This is a hard and fast guideline for us on application because we know that a student is not going to be of much benefit to you all as full-time employers if they leave our program without having a summer internship or co-op experience. So we really make sure to look at those. And if a student doesn't have that, they're either being placed on our wait list until they do, or they are not being admitted into the program, to be very transparent, because we know that is a huge piece of being successful in the roles that they'll move into after this program.
And I'm going to add in a color commentary on that too. This also presents a great opportunity for our employer partners to offer them that co-op or internship right before they start the program. So there's a lot of opportunity here for you as well.
Yes. And we're in the get involved, how y'all can get involved with our program portion. We'll talk a little bit about how we're starting to do that early admission piece with juniors and how you all can get in front of them at a very early stage to then have that opportunity for internships. Thank you, Lisa. Extracurricular involvement. I believe, Rochelle, it was you chatting through, how do we make sure someone that you're hiring has the other side of it, right? The customer piece, the ability to have those conversations and be personable and create those relationships. We want to see that someone is involved in leadership and extracurricular on campus where they learn those skills. We also continue to enhance it in our program, but we want to make sure that students in our program are doing things outside of the classroom and outside of their internships, because that makes them even more successful moving forward. And also a clear motivation and a good why. The students coming into our program have a very clear picture of what they want their career path to be. And that is extremely important to our career management center as well as to employers. And we know it, so we want to make sure that they have that motivation. If not, we continue to have conversations with them of come back when you do and apply when you have that clear motivation or that clear understanding, or let's kind of pull it out and do some coaching conversations to figure out where your path is going to take you. So that's what makes a competitive applicant for us. And those are the things that Brooke is working on with students a lot in her one-on-one conversations, events, etc., to make sure it's clear for students. Lisa, I'm going to pass it to you to talk about this, and then I'll kind of add on some pieces as well.
Absolutely. So especially you're wondering, how do I hire these people? Because they're an engineer and then they're an MBA. So what we want you to really think about is when you categorize them, they are not a traditional MBA. They are not going to have that, anywhere from 3 to 10 years of experience. Think of them as an early career, pre-experienced hire who's coming in with internship co-op experience. So they're not the traditional MBA level, and they're not expecting traditional MBA salaries. What we're thinking of is really think of them as engineering plus, because they are being encouraged to go into more technical roles in the short term. Because I'm married to an engineer. I know that engineers spend their early career a lot doing technical, but then they go into management roles. And the benefit for you, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit here with the long term, is that you are getting an Aggie engineer who has all of the technical horsepower, all of that, along with an Aggie MBA who has the business acumen and the combined two are the leadership skills. So short-term technical focus or engineer focus, there's lots of opportunities. That's why I was at the engineering career fair last week, really to talk to companies, to let them know about these students. And then so leadership development programs are phenomenal opportunities, not only for them, but also for you. They love it. Analytical or analyst roles, those are great too. Any technical role would be very attractive to them. We will have a few who want to go into more of that traditional business role. However, they are educated and they are very much advised that they are not eligible for the MBA level salaries that you would have with a traditional MBA student because, quite frankly, they just don't have the experience. And so that moves us into the long-term executive management. They can change their focus areas, particularly because they have the broad-based MBA education, which Rochelle, that kind of goes to your question. I'm sorry, can't remember. I wrote my notes down. I'm sorry, that was that LaShira? Yes, it was LaShira, the MSF. MSF is really very, very much finance related, whereas in the MBA, they will get all of the disciplines in business. So because of the technical side of their education and the business acumen, they are going to be able to advance into those managerial roles, leadership roles a lot faster than if they had gone typically through technical role, and then they have to drop out of life and go to an MBA program, which is why we developed this engineering MBA. And then also into lead engineer opportunities. My husband actually just retired, and being able to speak to both sides of the house is very, very helpful. And that is one of the great benefits to a student, because you might be asking, well, Aggie engineers do quite well. Why would they do this? One, less of an opportunity cost to do it now before they get into making a lot more money. And two, it's going to help them advance quicker through their career because of having the business side of it.
Lisa, yeah, just a question on like the MSF versus the engineering MBA. You kind of mentioned that MSF is more like finance. And then so are you saying with the engineering MBA, like only engineers would be Aggie engineers are allowed to join this program? And then you're saying like they would pick a track of business, so they would choose like marketing, finance, accounting, supply chain. Is that what you're saying, or?
So I can take that one, Lisa, if that works.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually just pulled this up. Katarina, this might be helpful. Can y'all see this PDF that I just pulled over? Okay, so this is the curriculum for our students coming in next fall. So you see they have the financial accounting, they get the business analytics, they do corporate finance, intermediate corporate finance, and all of the other econ, supply chain, etc. So they've got that great in-depth knowledge across lots of disciplines, but then you'll also see that they have across the whole program 5 electives. So within these electives, they are able, so right now, a few of our students are in all finance electives. And that's, to your point, a track. It's not necessarily a certificate because we can't guarantee they get a certificate in it, but they are able to be very strategic on how they choose their electives if they would like to really hone in on one area. Some students will mix it up. They'll do services marketing, they'll do investment management, they'll do negotiations, right? They're kind of breaking it up a little bit. So there is that opportunity, to your point, for students to choose it and kind of go on a specific track, if that clarifies.
Yeah, I guess what is the main, like, I guess I'm just trying to understand like what the majority of the students, like what they're kind of like probably pursuing. Are they trying to pursue like that business manager, program manager kind of role, or do you foresee a lot of these students doing more of the business side? Just trying to get a grasp. Understand, like, you can probably modify and change, but
Yeah. I think a
They-
lot of them are going to stick to that technical side of a entry-level job includes a little bit more of their engineering background than their business background. Now, what I've said in these calls before is that is what we see when we do the research on engineers that go straight into a master's, that then what their full-time roles are. We're still in year 0 of the program, right? We've got our first class right now, so there's a lot for us to learn. And I think a big part that we have, Lisa and I have talked about, is leaving it up to the employers of, if you see that this student would fit within this more business focused role after interviewing them, that's not something that we are going to sit here and say, nope, that doesn't work for our program, right? So that's something that we really encourage with this employer involvement, is majority of our students will go into a technical role with the ability to shift into a more business focused a lot quicker, but some of them will go straight into a business possibly role. Lisa, do you have anything to add?
No, I just wanted to just say to Katarina that most of these students will go into a technical role. And if we're comparing MSF to engineering MBA, that is going to be one of the bigger differences, is that the MSF is really for students who want careers in finance. And I know this because I've actually worked with the students in previous lives here. So it is really for students who want careers in finance, whereas students who are in the engineering MBA will have more of a broad-based career, I guess, menu to choose from, and they are being actively encouraged to go into technical roles after graduation, because the further they are removed from that, like if they don't really have a technical role right after graduation, they go, it may be more difficult for them to go back in like 6 years or so and say, oh, well, suddenly I want to become like an engineering manager or something. Whereas if they can go into more of a technical role, whatever technical means, I know with TI, there's lots of different pockets, that education, as well as the broad-based MBA, will help them move around in a company more easily. They'll be more transportable for movement throughout the company and promotion. Does that help?
yeah, that helps clarify. Thanks.
Yeah.
It might also help to share the difference of the format between MSF and us, because that is very different, where students can be admitted as soon as their sophomore year into MSF and start classes and then get an internship between junior, senior year with a company that then they move into full time later after MSF. With our program, it does not overlap with undergrad at all. So they finish their undergrad and then come to us for 1 year for all of our classes. We do boot camps and retention events, right, with our early admits, that where employers can get in front of them and talk about opportunities, but there's no overlap in classes, which does make MSF different as well.
Right. And from a marketing perspective, MSF's tagline is STEM to stops. So they are admitting students from any of the STEM disciplines, whereas engineering MBA is only available to Aggie engineers with a Bachelor of Science degree.
All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit too about the understanding from our lens of the curriculum. So we talk a lot about 50% academics, 50% professional and career development. We do have these 2 first bullet points are courses that we actually have embedded into our curriculum. So our students are not in courses that are purely just that head down, I'm learning a new skill within finance, marketing, supply chain, etc. We also put them within a career and professional development course where they talk about personal branding. They really make sure to hone in on that why and those things within that course. And then individual leadership development, like I talked about with the applicant pool, we want to make sure they have that leadership extracurricular involvement prior to coming in, and we want to grow it. while they're in this program as well. So we have a class that is actually called, we call it ILD internally, Individual Leadership Development. And a big thing with us, with our tagline and with our motto is we are developing leaders of character. That is always going to be a part of our MBA program. So we want to make sure that our curriculum mimics that as well. And that's why we include these pieces. I wanted to quickly highlight a few of our students who are in the program right now. And then I will also show y'all where you can find information on our students who are not placed for full-time roles. So one of our current students, Emily Collier, she was a chemical engineering student, graduated in May of 24. So LaShira, I know you asked about what's the breakdown of disciplines, what are the breakdown of the percentages of where they're coming from. I will say in our incoming fall class, we are seeing, and Brooke, you speak up and correct me if I'm missing one, seeing heavy mechanical, electrical, we see a good amount of ISIN, industrial systems engineering, and industrial distribution. We also are seeing a really high number of biomedical engineering students. And then I would say evenly across chemical, petroleum, civil, we see a lot of them. I don't think that there's one discipline that we haven't seen come through in an application standpoint. Brooke, do you have
That
any?
was the only thing I was going to add is that almost every single major is represented in our incoming class.
Awesome. Love it. So this gives you a quick snapshot of some previous experience that Emily had with Valero. She decided to pursue the engineering MBA degree after kind of being in those internship experiences and seeing the technical side and the business side working together. So that was really cool for her, and she wanted it to prepare her for future leadership roles. Her next step, she will actually be going back to Valero as a process optimization analyst. So we're very excited for her. Rajat Malani, so my TI people on the call might recognize Rajat or have talked to him, but he is one of our computer engineering students that's currently in our class. He will be transitioning into a product marketing engineer with TI. He interned with Regions Bank over the summer in Birmingham, Alabama, and he talked a lot about seeing where the technical and the business side just were not understanding each other in his internship. And he wanted to be that person in the room that was still kind of working in that engineering role, but could understand what the CFO or the associate finance people were talking about at the table. So that was a big piece as why he wanted to pursue into the engineering MBA. And then I'll also share real quick, and I will send this link in a follow-up. We have a great website called Meet Maze MBAs. And each of these students has a profile on here that talks about what their undergraduate degree is, what their future career goals are. And these 5 students are currently seeking internships. They are actively interviewing. So if you have opportunities for them, we are excited to share that with them and connect you with them directly. Josh, Austin, and David are mechanical engineers. Nathan is an industrial distribution major, and then Riley was biomedical engineering. So again, seeing a really good array in this first 7 of students coming in. And next year, we are already have admitted around 75 students for next year already, and hoping to have a class close to 100 for next year. So I wanted to showcase that.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
7 are the pioneers of engineering
Yes.
MBA. They're all amazing students too. I would highly encourage you to go and look at Meet Maze MBA and try to pick them up ASAP. So
They're great. And we're also happy to help connect you with our incoming students who are coming in the fall if you have internship opportunities available for the summer. So that's something that we are offering as well. All right, so this is a little bit, LaShira, for your kind of brain with the percentages. This is a little bit of our class of 2026. So those that are coming in the fall, a little bit of a breakdown. These numbers shift every day with applications and with admissions, but this is where we're sitting currently. I wanted to highlight some internship experiences there. These are the high caliber internships that our students who are coming in the fall have coming into this program. The cool thing that we're seeing too is that a lot of our students are interning with a company the summer before the program, and the company knows that they're coming back for that engineering MBA, and they're excited to still convert them to that full-time role after that program. So that's a cool relationship piece that we're seeing that we hope to continue throughout the program as we make more employer connections like this today. I wanted to put the ultimate program goal here. We plan to increase enrollment each year. We think that this program is just going to become more and more popular for students. So our goal within 5 years is to be at 200 to 300 students each year. Currently, we will always only have a fall start. That is a big thing. So we know we have some December grads. We encourage them, find a co-op, do something of value for the 6 months before you start the program. Just don't sit on the couch and twiddle your thumbs. So that's a big thing that we are encouraging with our incoming class. I know we had some questions about disciplines and the breakdown. Does anyone have any questions for us?
I'm in the middle of like a lobby day thing, so I apologize for the noise background. Um, but just question for you, because that was one of the things you just mentioned, like we aren't able to like cut our summer internship short, so they're in a manufacturing plant, so the 8-6 doesn't work for me. So my question, which you kind of answered this a little bit ago, would be more on, I know you. So essentially, I would need to be finding like spring co-ops that I would want to bring in um, to our roles. Is there a way to like know who like the December grads are that are going to be entering into the program that I could try and like recruit? Because I see a couple of these majors we currently recruiting from the manufacturing, ID, um, electrical, mechanical, that we currently recruit. So just wanted to understand how I can try and find some of those students.
Yeah, of
that are
course.
December.
I'm happy to provide that. We track if they are December or May or August grads. So we do have a good amount of those understood that we could share with you. A lot of them I've already contacted and said, hey, if a company is interested in a spring opportunity right now or a shortened summer one, are you interested in us sharing your resume? So I already have a lot of those available to share. So Rochelle, why don't I follow up with you? Lisa and I can follow up afterwards, try to get you some sort of resume book for the incoming class to see what those look like. And I'll get your majors that you prefer, of course. And if there's GPA requirements, we can do that as well. Awesome. Great question. Any other questions on percentages or disciplines, things like that? Right?
No, this looks good. I know this was one of my questions, but
Yeah.
very happy to see that electrical is the leading major. So
Awesome.
that's what I was really interested in.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, and transparently, I think a lot of people thought when this program was being created that ISIN, industrial engineering, and industrial distribution would be the leading. But I think the big thing I've come to know is that they get some of that business sense in their undergrad already. And so I'm really excited that it's the mechanicals, the electricals. Biomedical was a shocker to me. I will even tell that to our biomedical students. But I'm really excited, and it makes sense when it comes to the sales piece, or if they're looking to go into medical device sales, that one makes sense now that we think about it.
Or management, right? I know we work a lot with engineers. Our talent development team works to develop the new college grads and, you know, make them ready for those managerial roles, because at TI, I mean, they could take a technical track, but they can also take that sort of management track, right? So if they want to stay in technical, of course, you join the tech ladder. But if you want to become a manager one day, I think having this MBA is a significant piece to ensure that we don't have to do a lot of talent development, right? You all have done it for us.
Yeah, we're happy to.
LaShira, especially for you all, I mean, this could be a great way to start building a pipeline, particularly when you see the growth projections of the program. And y'all, I mean, I know we're going to have a lot of students. It'd be great if you could hire all 200 of them, but the reality is we want you to hire at least one or two a year, maybe every other year, and then tell all your friends in recruiting about these incredible students, because we want to make sure that our students are leading the way in technology and in business. And that's why we have this program. Or you can just keep them all to yourself and hire all 200.
Lisa has a money tree in her backyard, probably. Awesome. Well,
We're
I'm glad
pretty competitive. I think we want to get them all.
I'm glad I could answer a lot of these questions. And I think, LaShira, you brought up a really good point about the pieces that you're saying y'all have already been doing within your programs that you're like, well, engineering MBA program is already going to cover a lot of that. Another big piece that, Lisa, I might be stealing your thunder that we'll talk about in a second is our hope is to have an advisory board for this program as well. Because if there are pieces that in 2 to 3 years or even next year, a student comes in to your full-time role and you're like, hey, they had this was great, but I really wish you would have covered more on this specific area. We want to flex our curriculum to meet your needs. So that's a big piece of what we want this program to become, is those consistent conversations with you all about how are our students doing, because we know we're going to have to flex how things are changing in the industry all the time. So
Absolutely. That sounds great.
awesome. All right, Lisa, do you want to touch on these? This is your bread and butter.
Sure. So one of the things we talked about is early engagement with our students. And you all know from your experience in recruiting that the earlier you can meet with students, it helps you kind of watch them as they progress, and you can figure out, who you want to really kind of get balls into, for lack of a better way to describe it. That's what I think of it. It's like, I want them to work for me and stuff. So we do have some opportunities for you to get to know our students a little earlier. And I did want to follow up on what Marla said, because I think we are in academia, but we are very industry focused. We want to make sure that we are meeting your needs when we are educating these students and putting them out in the marketplace. So it's a partnership truly amongst all of us. So one of the opportunities is our lunch and learns. You can have an intimate setting to meet with the students. We'd love for you to purchase lunch, but don't let that be a barrier. And it's your opportunity to really give something to the students as far as what your own careers look like or what you've seen, and then tell them about your company. What does the work-life culture look like? And then always talk about full-time roles. And I also want to bring this up too, because I had someone mention this to me. We do not restrict when you can hire our students. If you want to make them an offer, they start late July. If you want to make them an offer in late August or September, yes, do it. We do not put time parameters on anything. And our students, as you all know, they are expected to uphold Aggie core values. So if they accept an offer, they are off the market. So I did want to put that out there, that you are not restricted by time guidelines. You can make an offer to any of our students at any time. Networking receptions are also very important, and it allows you to kind of see how they operate in a less formal setting than an interview, but it gives you a good idea of how they're going to represent your company when they are interacting with your clients or prospective clients or other colleagues at your companies. We're looking at opportunities to really capitalize on existing fairs, the SEC Career Fair and the Business Career Fair, or we may look at some other boutique fairs. What we want to is just to create a space for you to get to know them in a more personal setting, and also take advantage of times when you may already be on campus. Unfortunately, College Station, well, we like it that it's not so big. It's not the big mecca, but people do tend to come here for the fair. So we want to make sure that we value your time and give you those opportunities for engagement. Coffee chats are also a great opportunity. We can schedule them here in our career management center. There also have been some times where virtual coffee chats have occurred. What we're seeing, especially, as we're coming out of COVID, and I know that your budgets are getting restricted, students really value that one-on-one and that personal connection. So if you can come here, that's great. But again, if that's a barrier, we will find a way to make it work. And then Impact Fridays, and Marla probably knows more about these because I haven't been involved in those, but that is an actual opportunity for you to come in and share a skill that is relevant to your company that you see. And that could go back to your dream list of what are the types of programs and skills that you want students coming in with. Share that, and then of course tell them about your opportunity. Did I miss anything on the Impact Fridays, Marla or Brooke?
I don't think so. That's a great way to put it, Lisa, is that you're here representing your company, right? You're still representing the brand that you will hold with your company, but teaching the students a specialized skill that could benefit them in the future. So I mentioned a few there that we've done. We are open to lots of specialized skills, and then we are always available to set like 30 to 45 minutes after these Impact Fridays where you can have an actual networking reception if you'd like, right? We want to make sure to offer that to you as well with our students. These are typically held with students once they are in the program. So we really like to make sure, transparently, our students don't really have a day off when they're in the program. They're really either in class or we're doing some sort of programming to help enhance those leadership, career, or specialized skills. And then they're meeting with their teams outside of that from an academic standpoint. So we like to fill their calendars with things that will make them a better leader of character and also better in y'all's roles for sure. Awesome.
So a quick question real quick. I think I know that we're gonna do a lunch and learn. Are we gonna get a because I want to make sure I tailor our presentation and the lunch to some of the things that you guys will share as far as like the tracks that they'll be a part of, so I can make sure the right type of job you want to be able to present or basically present align with what they're kind of looking for and give some practical examples. But my question is, will we get like a copy of this stuff?
Yeah,
Is
and I'm
your
sorry,
Rochelle, is it with
cutting out a little
MSB,
bit.
Rochelle?
Say that one more time.
Is your Lunch and Learn with MSB program or with a different program?
It's with MS Business. Yeah,
Oh, never mind. Say JK.
it's fine.
Okay.
It's
My
fine.
bad.
No, you're
Yeah.
fine. But we will connect offline about that. So
Okay.
yeah,
My bad.
You're good.
you're fine.
You're good. You bring up a great point that is another program that is within our office. That program is very foundational business knowledge and not as in-depth as our program. So hopefully that helps separate the pieces too. So you bring up a good point, Rochelle, that people might be thinking too. Awesome. Lisa, would you like to touch on this piece?
Sure. So as you can see, Engineering MBA is a very visionary program. We've got big goals with enrollment, big goals with our students going out and making a huge impact in the world. And that's what we are looking for. So we need advisory board and employer support. As Marla mentioned, we want to have input so that way we are putting a product out into the world that is going to meet your business and technical needs. So any experts that you have in the field, we want them. There are mentoring opportunities. I know that a lot of companies have ESG. So anybody who is an expert who will be willing to mentor our students, we are looking for that. And the big thing really, as I spoke to LaShira about, is getting that pipeline of students so you're not constantly having to go back out. Like Rochelle was saying, you had, I think, 25 programs and now you're down to 8. Is we're supplying you with some great candidates for the roles that you are hiring for. And that is the biggest benefit for you as an employer of getting involved with the Engineering MBA.
Thanks, Lisa. So with these two previous slides, what I will do is I've created a Qualtrics form that I would love for all of y'all to fill out to tell us how you'd like to be involved. And then additionally, I'll reach out individually like Rochelle with your question about how can I target some students right now. Please let us know if there's specific targets that you'd like to make, especially with our current students that are graduating in the next few months. So I will follow up with those details because we'd like to get all the info of how you want to be involved so Lisa can plug y'all in. All right, now I'll open it up for Lisa. Can you double check your notes? Make sure we answered all the questions that people asked in the beginning, and then what other questions do y'all have for us that maybe came up through the presentation?
I'm looking back through and it looks like we did. And I really appreciated Rochelle's question about, how the 8 to 10 week won't fit, but we do have spring opportunities. So keep that in mind as well, especially with our December grads, because we want them to be active before they start the program. So that will be big. But I think we got everything else, and we got the undergraduate roles. Okay, I think we're good. But of course, any other questions, we're happy to answer those for you.
I have one last question. You all touched on it for a second, but I don't think we went into depth about it. You mentioned early admission for juniors. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So Brooke right now is working on, we are admitting juniors. And when we say juniors, the classification stuff at A&M is confusing because they say that they're a senior, but they're not going to graduate until December of 2025, right? So we are currently admitting anyone that's graduating August 25, December 25, or May 26. We are doing an early admit process. So I think, Brooke, do you have that number on how many juniors we've already admitted off the top of your head?
We've already admitted 23.
Yep. And we've already gotten some deposits to secure their seats. They're already ready. And so I think that they're excited to go into summer internship opportunities talking about the program. And then at LaShira, a really unique piece that we're going to do is their whole senior year, we will do 3 boot camps a semester with them. So just last week, we did our first boot camp with our incoming fall class, and it was personal branding, teamwork. We do some program focused boot camps, but then our last boot camp this semester, ExxonMobil is coming in to speak to our students. So that is another opportunity for you all to have that early engagement with students to come in, talk about a specialized skill or talk about personal branding, professional development, and then have a networking opportunity there as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I really just wanted to know if there were opportunities for us to first engage with the early admits, but I wanted a number too. I'm a numbers girl. So I wanted a number on the early admit, and just to see if we could engage with them too, because I mean, we're all about early engagement. That's how you get it. So
yes, 100%. We can, and if there's even certain disciplines you're targeting for summer internships, we can share those. With their permission, we'll get their resumes and we can engage you as early as you like. We'll create the opportunities, that's for sure.
Great.
I have a question. Marla and Brooke are going to kill me for this, but it just popped into my head. So because like we said, right now we've got 25 students who are juniors, rising seniors. Would you all be open if you can't do like one of the boot camps, would you be open to hosting a visit for the early admits at your locations? I'm thinking like on a Friday or something. Let me move my thing so I can see Brooke's face to see if she's ready to kill me. Because I'm just thinking that might be another opportunity, because from a program standpoint, we want to keep the students engaged because we want them to not feel like they're just admitted and dropped. That's why we're doing this. Plus also to get them ready for the classes. But I was just like, well, hey, TI, Matador, they're just up the road. Could we do some? I'm just sorry, Marla.
No, I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. That's site visits are something that we do all the time with sophomores from different schools that I'm assigned to, juniors. So that's definitely something we can do. We typically do host students for about 2-3 hours max, and we host a company overview. So for like the first hour, we'll have a company overview, just like a presentation of TI, then 30 minutes for company overview, 30 minutes for like a Q&A. So we'll have like an early career alum from Texas A&M come in and be on the panel for answering questions. And then we'll have like maybe a mid-level, and then we try to get someone higher up if they have time to really answer questions, and we make sure that they are all alum from the university that we are hosting. And then the second hour is mostly like a tour of the labs and our headquarters. And we'll feed them snacks and things like that. If you, depending on what time, we could get cater lunch as well. So yes, Lisa, that's something that we could do.
I
That's
can
something
add that,
that's
Lisa,
good.
to the follow-up form of how to get involved.
Good.
I'll add that as an option.
Good. And Colton, I mean, Houston's just down the road, so Baker Hughes too. I'm actually coming to this conclusion because we used to, when I worked at Main Campus Career Center, LaShira, I don't know if you remember, I know Kirkwood, we used to do what's called an Aggie externship. And it was basically a way for students would meet at the employer. They would just meet. See you later, Katerina, there, and basically go through what you described. And the Main Campus Career Center does not do that anymore, but I'm a big fan of R&D, rip off and duplicate. And it's something that we could definitely do and use for our students to help with that early engagement and help them to get an idea of where they might be a good fit too. So I love this idea. Sorry that I just threw that out there, Marla.
You're good. Don't apologize. Awesome. Any other questions that we can help answer? Other questions that might give Lisa a big idea? Awesome.
I mean, I do have a plant in Houston. I have two in
Okay.
Dallas. I just have to figure out how to make it work and shake.
There we go, Rochelle. Okay, I'm writing you down.
Put an asterisk by my name.
I will. I've got it.
Pending. Put pending.
And then I'll say, Rochelle, remember when you said we could go visit?
Funny. Awesome. Well, we will follow up via email just with lots of info. I'll send the link that I share with our
See you,
current
Colton.
students.
Sorry.
Bye, Colton. You're good. Who aren't placed. And I'll be sure to send out this recording as well, just in case you're like, wait, I remember Marla and Lisa and Brooke answered that question, but I can't remember exactly what they said. And we're also happy to meet again, one-on-one. So please let us know how we can assist. And it was super great getting to know y'all a little bit better today. So thank you for joining.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome. See you later.
I'm sorry. I was just sitting here and I was like, we can add on and I'll